During 40 years, despite all of my losses, including those of my son, mother, and girlfriend, even his closest friends were completely taken aback by a decision he made at the age of 72, music. It appeared that something music had changed deep within him after Kelly Preston passed away, music in 2020, and after the earlier death of his son, Jet. By 2026, he started bidding farewell in ways that greatly alarmed the people, music, in his immediate vicinity. He distributed mementos with deep personal significance one by one. Additionally, he taped what he referred to as his parting words to his fans. His family started to feel very uneasy. This year, there were a lot of unfounded stories spreading concerning his death. He seemed to be concealing something. You will be devastated by what John understands about his own future. On February 18, 1954, John Travolta Music was born in Englewood, New Jersey. Out of 6 children, he was the youngest. Salvatore, his father, provided the majority of the family's income by operating a small tire music shop. In the meantime, his mother, Helen, pursued her own goal of performing on stage while teaching acting to help support the family. John's eyes would be excited as he watched his mother practice. He was drawn to the performing arts as early as the age of 12. It was demonstrated in a school play. He moved with incredible assurance as soon as he took the platform, and the audience erupted in applause. He felt as though a whole new chapter in his life was opened by that sound. Despite their lack of income, his family's home was always full of stories, music, and laughter. John paid close attention to Helen's rehearsals of musicals, especially the sound of music in the living room, as if it were the source of his own life. Even though their music home was little and life was difficult, such moments nourished music, something deep inside his soul, and gave him hope. The house was rarely quiet when I was growing up since my family liked music. Music from the musicals Oklahoma and My Fair Lady were constantly played during Helen's rehearsals. John didn't need to be persuaded to join in by music. Neighbors would frequently peek music through the windows to watch the young child performing in the center of the room as he danced, sang, imitated every gesture, and performed with such dramatic expressions. Despite being the youngest kid and perhaps regarded as music, the most delicate, his mother consistently supported him, maintaining that he had music, something genuinely unique. John turned to music whenever he felt alone or unimportant. He let his anxieties to be carried away by each music. He frequently claimed that he had been saved by those performances in the living room. Despite their lack of wealth, their creative home encouraged him to dream of a future that was beyond his current comprehension. But school was a completely different experience. Because of his thin build and stutter, which made his music speech hesitant, John was often teased. Because of his light complexion, his classmates made fun of his speech and gait, calling him Pinky. On some days, he wished he could just vanish before lunch. He consequently started to retreat into his own world. He would turn his suffering into amusement by performing short plays for his younger siblings when he arrived home. He was able to forget the pain he had endured at school and find calm again via acting. Seeing the suffering her son was going through, his mother urged him to take the stage in order to turn his feelings into inspiration. By the time he got to high school, it seemed like he had entirely changed every time music took the stage. He was the center of attention for everyone in the audience, as if he was the only one in control of the light streaming across the stage. Over time, what was once thought to be his weakness, music, became his greatest asset. At the age of 12, he made his real breakthrough. Who Will Save the Plowboy is a community drama that Helen directed music for, and assigned him a little part. The instant he took the stage, everything changed, even though the role was quite straightforward. He made up funny lines, altered the way he sang, music, and even employed regional accents that weren't included in the script. He stood in stunned silence as the audience music erupted in laughter and unceasing applause. They were so moved by the music that they even stood up in a standing ovation. Even the adults waiting backstage were shocked by something so uncommon. He found his music calling in life that evening. He carried the emotion with him for years, giving him the willpower to keep going. He made the decision to go even further by the time he was 16 years old. Despite his parents' constant music encouragement to complete his education, he left Dwight Mororo High School. He took all of his money, packed a small bag, and relocated to New York City. In order to make ends meet, He accepted every job music could find and rented a room at the Music YMCA for just $1 per night. He delivered flowers, cleaned wherever assistance was required, and scrubbed dishes. He went to free acting classes during the day and even sneaked into classrooms that he wasn't supposed to be in. He went back to his tiny bed at the YMCA at night and persuaded himself that he only needed music to get through one more day. He never let melancholy overcome him. He thought that every adversity had a purpose, and that if he persisted in knocking, the city would finally let him in. Later, Helen assisted him in enrolling in the local Playhouse School Music, where Dan Sullivan taught vocal performance. Sullivan noticed that John had an innate raw ability for music, but he stressed that skill was never sufficient on its own. He believed that anyone without the musical fortitude to withstand it could be quickly crushed by the entertainment industry. John silently took their remarks to heart. He underwent extremely difficult and mentally taxing training. He refined music, every gesture and movement, while learning how to regulate his voice. He eventually got over his stutter. Sullivan's music advice remained with him as a silent reminder after the program was over. Through music, he was able to stay grounded during many significant life turning points. He had his first paid acting music job at the Cherry Lane Theater in the musical Bye Bye Birdie at the age of 16. The same year, he relocated to New York, earning $75 per week. Despite the small stage and crowded backstage area, he learned something new from each musical performance. He put in a lot of effort to commit his lines to memory, watched seasoned performers, and researched how they engaged audiences. The lively environment of the off-Broadway scene gave him the self-assurance that music had been lacking for a long time. He was persuaded by those encounters that he was a true fit for the entertainment industry. He was cast with Blythe Danner music in the off-Broadway play Rain 2 years later, in 1972. However, because of the very poor reviews, the production music only lasted 2 weeks before closing. All of a sudden, he had nothing. He spent hours walking and sleeping on park benches in the hopes that someone would give him a chance. He could still clearly recall those music memories. They showed him that the entertainment business has the power to propel a person to extraordinary heights before abruptly abandoning them. He continued to try out despite this. He was not going to give up. He took on the role of Duty when he joined Grease's Music National touring production in 1973. He was not the main character, but the part allowed him to perform song on stage. The entire cast laughed heartily as he performed spontaneous dance moves. Traveling all the time was draining, but it also made him accustomed to performing in city after city, night after night. He was inspired to keep going by the lengthy bus travels, the friendships music formed with other artists, and the satisfaction of having steady work. He gained widespread recognition music from that tour, which also paved the way for larger roles. He performed with the music Andrew Sisters on his Broadway debut in the musical Over Here in 1974. The production was the largest musical triumph of the season, running for 341 music performances. Many people were taken aback by his tenor voice performance of the song A Million Miles Away. Once he found his rhythm, he felt as though music had finally returned to where he truly belonged. Despite the fact that he had previously experienced severe stage fright during preview performances, he had a plethora of new opportunities as a result of Over Here's success. It brought him one step closer to Hollywood and gave him the opportunity to collaborate with actors and musicians like Treat Williams and Marilu Henner. He tried out for over 50 music TV ads that same year. He made up to $500 a day by signing endorsement deals with Dr. Pepper and distinctive car accessories. He felt music a sense of financial security for the first time in his life. In Hell's Kitchen, he also relocated to a modest flat. He was able to sustain himself, keep going to auditions, and pursue his musical aspirations thanks to the commercial music work. He tried out for the musical Godspell in 1975, but he didn't get the chance since he sang the wrong song during the callback. He was devastated by the rejection and had to reconsider how he prepared for auditions. He then went to acting coach Milton Catalyst for advice. He was able to attain an emotional depth in his performances that he had never previously because to Catalyst. One of the most important lessons he learned from that setback was music. Then came the chance that completely altered the Welcome Back Carter audition, because he was in dire need of money.